In the early 2000s, while energy drink giants like Red Bull dominated store shelves, one man was brewing a bold idea in his tiny San Francisco apartment. He had no beverage background, no major investors, and no big team. All he had was vision, a relentless work ethic, and a belief that he could shake up the industry. That man was Russell Weiner, and his creation, Rockstar Energy, would go on to sell for nearly $4 billion.
Drink 5-hour energy before games just for that extra pump up.
Feel more alert and focused when I take them.
But how did this gritty outsider defy the odds, build a brand from nothing, and turn it into a billion-dollar empire? A billion-dollar idea, born in a small apartment. Russell Weiner wasn't a beverage mogul. He wasn't even a seasoned entrepreneur. In fact, before founding Rockstar Energy, he was best known as the son of conservative radio host Michael Savage. All he had was a background in politics and working on political campaigns. But in the early 2000s, he spotted something the energy drink market hadn't fully tapped into, and that observation would soon birth a billion-dollar brand. At the time, Red Bull was king. The Austrian brand had already introduced the US to a new kind of soft drink, one not meant for thirst, but for performance. But Russell saw a gap and made it the cornerstone of Rockstar Energy's entry into the market. Bringing his vision to life, however, wasn't glamorous. With no experience in the beverage industry and no major investors backing him, Russell started Rockstar from his tiny San Francisco apartment. The space was barely big enough for one person, yet he turned it into a makeshift headquarters. Stacks of cans, papers, and packaging materials took up every corner. The kitchen doubled as a test lab, and the living room became his office, warehouse, and meeting space all in one. There was no air conditioning, the plumbing was unreliable, and sleep was often interrupted by the noise of delivery trucks or late-night brainstorming. Friends who visited described it as organized chaos, a far cry from the sleek startup spaces of Silicon Valley. And yet, despite these odds, Russell pushed forward. Today, it's easy to focus on the billion-dollar worth of Rockstar, but that headline skips over the blood, sweat, and energy that built the company from scratch. Rockstar didn't come from a lab or a boardroom. It came from a cramped apartment and a founder crazy enough to challenge giants. And this is just how he did it. The early struggles and bold moves. When Russell Weiner decided to launch Rockstar Energy in 2001, the energy drink market was already under the tight grip of Austria's Red Bull. With its sleek branding and slim silver and blue cans, Red Bull had carved out a massive presence in America and the world. But Russell saw a weakness in their dominance that others had ignored: the can size. In truth, Red Bull was small, literally. Its 8.4-ounce can left some consumers wanting more, especially Americans used to larger portions. Russell didn't reinvent the wheel. He just believed there was an opportunity to not only match Red Bull's buzz, but to offer twice the product for the same price. So, instead of launching a direct replica, he did something bold. Rockstar would come in a 16-ounce can, twice the size, same price. That one move was more than a packaging choice. It was a statement. Rockstar wasn't just another energy drink. It was bigger, louder, and meant to stand out. But disrupting an industry doesn't happen overnight. In fact, in the early days, it barely happened at all. Russell faced rejection at every turn. Retailers didn't want to make room for a brand no one recognized. Distributors weren't interested in the extra effort of pushing an untested product. And investors didn't believe it was worth the risk to take on industry giants like Red Bull and Monster. So Russell took matters into his own hands. He began self-distributing Rockstar Energy from the trunk of his car. He loaded cases himself, drove to local convenience stores, and pitched the drink to owners face-to-face. In many cases, he left samples and came back days later to see if any had sold. If they had, he restocked. If not, he tried again elsewhere. His San Francisco apartment became his office, warehouse, and lab. There was no team, no secretary, no marketing department. Just stacks of cans, handwritten notes, scribbled sales routes, and an unrelenting belief that Rockstar had a place in the market. With no money for commercials or billboards, Russell turned to grassroots marketing to get the word out. He personally sponsored local events, music festivals, and motocross shows, anywhere his target audience would be. He made sure Rockstar was visible where it mattered most, connecting the brand with people who cared about attitude, high energy, and standing out from the crowd. Against the odds and the industry giants, Russell Weiner's hands-on grind began to pay off. Slowly, Rockstar gained traction, one store and one city at a time. And all of it was built not in a boardroom but by a guy who worked out of his bedroom and never took no for an answer. and one of the smartest moves he made was his unique, aggressive marketing style. The Rockstar Edge, what made it stand out? Russell Weiner knew from the start that Rockstar couldn't just be another energy drink. It had to be a movement, a brand that spoke to people who didn't follow the rules. So instead of going sleek, classy, or clean-cut like Red Bull, he went loud, bold, and in your face. From the can size to the branding, everything about Rockstar was designed to feel bigger, brasher, and more rebellious. The name Rockstar itself was a statement, and it wasn't about sports or performance, but about attitude and identity. The 16-ounce black and gold can looked aggressive. The star logo had sharp edges. The overall design oozed edge, toughness, and energy. It wasn't subtle, and that was exactly the point. Where Red Bull felt like a drink for athletes and professionals, Rockstar targeted a wilder crowd of young people, partygoers, and fans of extreme sports. Instead of sticking to clean and polished marketing, Russell leaned hard into the underground culture of skate parks, dirt tracks, and music stages. He poured time and money into grassroots sponsorships by partnering with motocross riders, skateboarders, BMX athletes, and rock bands. Rockstar wasn't just showing up to these events, it was sponsoring them, putting its brand front and center in places where mainstream advertisers rarely went. Russell also made sure Rockstar was everywhere the party was happening. Music festivals, spring break destinations, college tours, and club scenes became key locations for branding efforts. He gave out free cans at events, slapped Rockstar logos on motorcycles and stages, and made the drink synonymous with adrenaline and nightlife. This guerrilla marketing approach helped Rockstar stand out and build loyalty among the young, rebellious crowd it was targeting. And it worked. Within a few years, Rockstar became a cultural brand, not just a beverage. People didn't just drink it for energy, but to feel cool, edgy, and alive. This emotional connection gave Rockstar staying power and made it one of the first true lifestyle energy drinks on the market. Compared to Red Bull's clean and sporty vibe, Rockstar felt more raw, street-level, and relatable to a different kind of consumer. It wasn't trying to impress CEOs or Olympic athletes. It was built for dirt bikers, skaters, college kids, and late-night partiers. And this image stuck. The brand became the badge of a certain kind of life. The wild, go hard, no sleep life. And in that world, Rockstar was the fuel. Marketing might have opened the door, but what kept Rockstar inside the industry and growing was the mindset Russell carried into every decision he made. Mindset over money. Russell's founder philosophy. Russell Weiner didn't build Rockstar Energy by chasing quick cash. In fact, he turned down several chances to sell out early, even when the money was tempting. For him, it wasn't just about launching a product. It was about building something that would last. He believed in playing the long game, and that mindset shaped every move he made. In the early 2000s, energy drinks were exploding, and big players were scouting for fast-growing newcomers. Russell had offers, but he refused to sell out or partner with corporations that didn't align with his vision. He wanted control, not just over the product, but over the brand, culture, and direction of the company. He once said in an interview, "If I'm going to lose, I want to lose because of my decisions, not someone else's." Unlike many startup founders, Russell didn't chase investors or splash cash on flashy offices. He kept it lean, working from his small office, making calls, managing deliveries, and negotiating deals himself. While other companies raised millions for big marketing campaigns, Russell relied on grit and hustle. What drove him was not money, but impact. He wanted Rockstar to stand for something, not just energy, but rebellion, individuality, and confidence. He focused heavily on branding and lifestyle, making sure every can, ad, and sponsorship spoke directly to his target audience. His goal wasn't just to be noticed, but to be remembered. Another key to his mindset was delayed gratification. Instead of grabbing fast profits, he reinvested into the brand. His philosophy was simple: own more, control more, and grow stronger. He believed in long-term equity over short-term success, a rare trait in an industry obsessed with fast exits. And he didn't let setbacks rattle him. Russell faced countless rejections from retailers, distributors, and even early consumers. One major challenge that nearly disrupted Rockstar Energy's growth came in 2009, when the company lost its key distribution deal with Coca-Cola. The partnership, which began in 2005, had helped Rockstar expand quickly, getting the drink into more stores and boosting its credibility in a crowded market. But behind the scenes, tensions reportedly grew. Russell Weiner was known for being direct and fiercely protective of his brand, which sometimes clashed with Coca-Cola's corporate style and long-term priorities. Eventually, Coca-Cola decided to shift its focus to its own energy drink brands, and the partnership ended. For most companies, losing a partner as big as Coca-Cola would be a fatal blow. Rockstar's sales took a hit, dropping by around 5%, and many doubted the drink could recover. But Russell didn't back down. Instead, he quickly pivoted and struck a new distribution deal with PepsiCo. The move was bold and risky, but it paid off. Rockstar not only survived the switch, but thrived. Pepsi's network matched Rockstar's edgy style better than Coca-Cola ever had. What could have been the end turned into a turning point, all because Russell refused to let one setback define the company. It was a moment that proved just how far grit, speed, and belief in your brand could take you. It wasn't luck, it wasn't hype, it was vision, resilience, and a refusal to give up. And just like that, Russell walked into billions. The turning point and the billion-dollar exit. By the late 2000s, Rockstar Energy was no longer just a scrappy challenger. It was a full-blown player in the energy drink industry, competing head-to-head with Red Bull and Monster. The turning point came when Russell Weiner started landing big distribution and retail deals. One of the first breakthroughs was with 7-Eleven, which agreed to stock Rockstar in stores nationwide. At the heart of this growth was the fact that Russell had made Rockstar a lifestyle brand. You didn't just drink Rockstar, you lived the Rockstar life. The brand was everywhere at motocross events, skate parks, EDM festivals, and in the hands of musicians and influencers. And because of that, sales soared. At this point, Rockstar was consistently ranked as one of the top 3 energy drinks in the United States. It had become a staple in gas stations, convenience stores, and college dorms. All the while, Russell stayed independent throughout the rise, refusing early buyout offers. This allowed Rockstar full creative control, letting the brand stay true to its identity without being watered down by corporate demands. And this decision paid off massively. By 2020, Russell knew it was time to hang his hat. He sold Rockstar Energy to PepsiCo for a staggering $3.85 billion. According to reports, he walked away with over $3 billion personally from the deal, making it one of the most lucrative exits in beverage industry history. And it wasn't just about the money. This was a stamp of validation. A guy with no beverage background, no initial investors, and no office had built a brand worth billions. Compared to Red Bull, which remains privately owned, and Monster, which had partnered with Coca-Cola years earlier, Rockstar's journey stood out. It proved that independent hustle could lead to billion-dollar success. The sale came at the perfect time when energy drinks were booming. The market was shifting toward health-conscious branding, and PepsiCo needed a bigger slice of the space. Russell saw the writing on the wall and made his move. It was more than just a win. It was a billion-dollar mic drop. Legacy of a rockstar, what Russell Weiner's journey teaches us. Russell Weiner's story isn't just about an energy drink, but about energy itself. Not the kind in a can, but the relentless drive of one man who turned a bedroom startup into a billion-dollar brand. He didn't have a team, investors, or industry experience. What he had was belief, branding instincts, and an ability to see gaps in the market that others missed. The Rockstar story shows that success doesn't come from following the rulebook, but from rewriting it. While competitors focused on sleek cans and traditional marketing, Russell doubled down on bold design, bigger servings, and guerrilla-style branding. He connected directly with young, rebellious consumers who weren't just thirsty, but looking for identity. That's the genius behind Rockstar. It wasn't just a drink, but a movement. For entrepreneurs, there are clear takeaways. First, you don't need a perfect start. You don't need venture capital, fancy offices, or a spotless resume. What you need is grit, a sharp eye for opportunity, and the willingness to go all in when others hesitate. Russell worked from his bedroom, made deliveries himself, and hustled through rejections that would have made most people quit. But he stayed focused and adaptable, pushing forward even when the odds were stacked against him. Second, thinking differently isn't optional, but everything. While Red Bull owned the premium European image, Russell understood American consumer habits and preferences. He gave them a bigger can at the same price and wrapped it in a brand that felt loud, wild, and unapologetic. That outside-the-box thinking is what made Rockstar explode in a saturated market. And third, never underestimate the power of timing and vision. Russell knew when to hold and when to sell. His decision to keep full control allowed Rockstar to maintain its edge. And when the time was right, he exited at the perfect moment, netting over $3 billion in the process. Today, Russell's story continues beyond beverages. He's dabbled in politics and made massive moves in real estate. But his legacy as the Rockstar founder remains a blueprint for bold, street-smart entrepreneurship. What do you think about Russell's journey? Tell us in the comments below. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.